Good evening, everyone. I'll call our Committee of the Whole meeting to order at 6 p.m. in council chambers. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Present.
Macias.
Present.
Razak.
Present.
Timian.
Present.
Finch.
Present.
McNeil.
Present.
Castro.
Present.
Schmidt.
Present.
All right. There's no remote electronic attendance needed. Is there a public comment, Chief? All right. Just a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
And do you have the clock going? Thank
Hello,
you.
everyone. My name's Tom Keith. I'm from Moline. As many of you know, I'm an activist trying to stop the spraying of our skies called climate engineering. I have flyers back there I gave to the clerk if anybody wants one or two. Now, Neil Anderson's got a proposal before the Senate right now on trying to stop this too, and it does trying to stop the spraying of our skies with climate engineering. So I get some of you people maybe to talk to him and encourage that bill to go through. That would help. My other concern is a new technique to spy on Americans called Palantir Gotham. It's police departments across the U.S. are using this software to aggregate and analyze massive amounts of civilian data. With a single search, officers can access and infer past addresses and known associates, vehicle movements via automatic license plate readers, and flock cameras. We've got 3 of them up here at UT, I see them. Photos, tattoos, scars, prior arrests, and field interviews. Social media and financial data when legally obtained or subpoenaed. Algorithmic risk scores that flag people based on patterns, not convictions. Now you could call that the pre-crime or Minority Report. Anybody remember that movie? This is sold as crime fighting, but it creates centralized digital profiles of millions of Americans, many never charged with a crime, often with minimal public transparency or oversight. Now, the knee-jerk response is, if you're not doing anything wrong, you've got nothing to worry about. But, you know, that's what the Germans said. And Martin Niemöller, he was a minister of Germany, he said, first they came for the socialists, but I wasn't a socialist, so I said nothing. Then they came for the trade unions and Jews, and I said nothing, because I was neither. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to stand up for me. Thank you for listening. Please don't kill the messenger.
Thank you, Tom. Anything further, Chief?
Yeah, good morning, Your Honor. David Stoner.
Hello, everyone. As you said, I'm David Stoner. I'm in the 4th Ward. So I came here tonight to voice my strong opposition to the city's use of flock cameras and ask that you invite feedback from the public on their use. Recently, I've been researching and discussing flock cameras with people in Moline and the rest of the Quad Cities. I found many are unaware of their use and distressed by their implications once they do find out. To that end, I started a petition encouraging cities in the area to stop using them. It currently has about 260 people from the Quad Cities signed on in just under 2 weeks. I submitted that petition earlier this week to the city clerk. Hopefully you'll have a moment to read it. While everyone has their own specific reasons opposing these cameras, I personally want to highlight the issue of trust. I believe our city leaders and police department have the best interests of the city in mind. However, Flock as a company has shown they don't deserve that same trust. Time and again, they promise one thing, only be found doing the opposite. First, they claim they don't have federal contracts, yet here in Illinois, the Secretary of State audited Flock and found them sharing data with federal agencies, including Customs and Border Patrol, which violated Illinois law. East Moline may have been one of the cities whose data was shared. Second, they claim they don't allow searches for healthcare, yet Texas police accessed the national database to search for a woman to investigate whether she had an abortion, again, against Illinois state law. Third, they claim their system is secure and only for law enforcement, yet security researchers have found dozens of cameras open to the entire internet, publicly available, including live feeds of children at parks as close as Cedar Rapids. We're handing powerful surveillance tools to a company with a track record of security failures and broken promises, who time and again is putting their bottom line above anyone's safety. So I want to leave you with a simple question: can we trust Flock? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Brian Allen.
I actually do not need to speak at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, if there's no further public comment, I don't have any questions on the agenda or adjustments other than There was information about a potential amendment to item 6.3, I believe, at your places. And there was also the filled-in
Updated contract.
updated contract for 6.4. I had specifically asked about deliverable dates for the art project, and so that was able to be included for you tonight. All right, we'll move to our items. 6.1, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to an intergovernmental agreement between the city of Moline and Moline Valley School District Number 40 to establish terms and conditions under which the city will provide fuel, pre-treated road salt, and use of the drive-through vehicle wash for purchase to the school district for a term of 10 years. Mr. Schmidt.
Good evening. So yes, we are looking to enter another agreement with the school district. The previous agreement has expired. This one will be for, as the mayor mentioned, fuel, road salt, and then a washing station for vehicles. We're lucky and fortunate to be able to provide these supplies and services to other agencies as a way to collaborate and not have duplicate efforts with other agencies. So we're looking to have this agreement for 10 years.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second. Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion. Yes, Mr. Timian.
My understanding is that the previous agreement had a discounted rate for the school, and this current one brings it at cost. Is that correct? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything further from the council? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. 6.2, a resolution approving change order number 1 and final with Autobaum Company, Inc. for project 1499, 2025 Midtown Parking Ramp repairs for the amount of $4,609.55. Ms. Clower.
Good evening. This item is to approve the final change order for the aforementioned project. Change order amount is $4,609.55. Purpose of this change order is to adjust the final field measurements to actual quantities and for installation of an aluminum plate over an expansion joint at the pedestrian walkway to the Access Hotel.
Motion
to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 6.3, an ordinance amending Chapter 35 zoning and land development of the Moline Code of Ordinances regarding certain corrections, additions, and/or clarifications to the zoning and land development regulations, including text amendments to Article 2, Development Review and Procedures, Division 1, Administrative Development Review, Section 35-2100, Review and Approval Required, Table 35-2100.1, Administrative Development Review Procedures Summary, and by adding a new section 35-2111 entitled Request for Reasonable Accommodation, and amending Article 3, Zoning Division 4, Land Use Regulations, Section 35-3401, Regulation of Allowed Uses, Table 35-3401.1, Permitted Land Uses concerning small institutional group homes.
Thank you.
Mr. Mathias.
I promise it's more simple than that. So we, you do this for a while, but you do learn things still in your profession, right? And so we were made aware of group home going into 437 39th Street. And we were aware that this is going to be a house with 10 male individuals recovering from substance abuse. And so we put that through our code, which was that it required a special use permit. And of course, Drake Daly came in as the building official and said, okay, we need sprinklers here, this is a commercial job, and everything else. So what we learned through that process from the attorney representing this gentleman is that the city needs to come up with a process and a way to allow individuals with disabilities to live in a home, in a single housekeeping unit together. And the reason for that is because that is the federal and state definition of a person with disabilities, right? So we had our opinion of what a person with disabilities is, and we've been kind of educated on that. As you see in my email, there are some lawsuits and things that have happened along lines with this. So we do need a way to accommodate for this. What this process does, and by the way, this went to our plan commission. This did have unanimous support from our plan commission and was noticed in the paper, and the ways that we need to do that. But the main thing that came out of this was coming up with a process, right, where they can fill out an application. I can review that as the CED director. I can communicate that to our building official, and we can allow for an example of this with this home with 10 individuals to go in and be treated like a single family home. What that means is, from a building code standpoint, it would be treated as a single family home. and also from a zoning standpoint. So we've come up with this process. The appeals to that, can go to our plan commission if our opinion of that is appealed somehow. And of course, we would look for documentation from this applicant to look into, like, is it actually a group home with disabilities or a home with persons with disabilities? So we're asking for your approval, and we're recommending approval of this. Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion by Finch, seconded by Timian. Discussion. Yes, Mr.
If I
Frank.
could, Mayor, before Alderperson Timian speaks, I would like to speak a little bit more about what is currently before you. I reviewed this and worked with Chris on preparing it. There are a number of ways that we could have addressed this, and you're about to hear about another way that we could. I personally believe that what we prepared is the best way. However, I acknowledge that the method you're about to hear about will also take care of this problem. My concern that I wanted to raise, I don't like working really quickly in order to take care of really serious issues. And so I am, even though I helped to prepare what Alderperson Timian is going to be suggesting, I am a little bit scared by it because I'm just not positive that it addresses everything that it needs to. It certainly addresses the particular issue that was raised to us, and it does resolve that. I acknowledge that. But I think we need to take a forward-looking approach, and if you pass what Alderperson Timian is proposing, I am going to be recommending that it go back to Plan Commission so that it can be fully studied, and if there are any other changes that might need to be made in order to properly make sure that it covers everything, then that could be done through the Plan Commission review rather than the 2 days that I have reviewed this and worked with Alderperson Timian.
Understood. Also, I will retort, though, that there are multiple readings of this where there's plenty of time for anyone on Plan Commission to review it, talk to us, et cetera, while the council is making the final decision in the long run anyway. It just delays things even more. Mr. Timian.
I appreciate the vote of confidence. Your Honor, I would like to make a motion to substitute the ordinance with the one you all see at your places. It's on the desk. Copies are available for the public as well, right here, if they'd like to see it. The ordinance addresses the same issues of compliance with federal law, but instead of creating a new process for requesting a reasonable accommodation, I propose that we simply change the definition of family by striking the current definition in the zoning code and replacing it with the following definition. Family means one or more persons occupying a dwelling unit and maintaining a common household. This definition shall also apply to Chapter 8 of the City of Moline Code of Ordinances. Table 35-3401.1 would also be changed as proposed in the original ordinance, which is reflected in the copy in front of you. That is a motion.
Second.
Motion by Timian, seconded by Finch. Discussion. That's a motion to amend, correct? Yes. Ms. Castro.
Substitute.
Question
Substitute, yeah.
to, maybe to Bill. Even like HUD has like a separate definition between family and a household. So family is, their HUD definition for family is very similar to what we have here, but then household is kind of a broader definition, almost kind of the same as what Mr. Timian is, is suggesting. So I mean, does that make a difference that like the federal government or HUD has the different defined definitions?
Essentially, the federal law that we're running afoul of, it says that we cannot have restrictions on disabled people that would prevent them from living as a single household in a residential area. And so by changing the definition of family so that unrelated individuals can still be a family, Alderperson Timian's substitute motion takes care of that issue. Mm-hmm. For other types of issues that might come up, say a need for a wheelchair ramp that doesn't quite meet setbacks, those can be handled through variances or special uses or other kinds of things like that. This one, when we were looking at trying to handle it through a special use or a variance or any existing way of handling it, it just did not work with the wording of our code. So we were going to have to change the code in some fashion. What I opted for was what I thought would be the least change, what would have the least effect on the smallest number of people. It is not, as I said, the only way that we can address this. I fully acknowledge that Alderperson Timian's method is a way of addressing it. It may need tweaking, and we can do that through additional proceedings in front of the city council. I simply am more comfortable if we were to take more time with this, because I don't want to guide you to something that is actually incorrect because I've missed some issue. I think I got everything, but I spent months working with Chris on what you have before you. I spent 2 days working with Alderperson Timian on the substitute motion. It's really good for 2 days of work, but it's still 2 days of work.
Just a follow-up question, if
Yes,
I can.
please.
If we change the definition of family in this ordinance, is that going to cause us to have to change definitions in other ordinances? I mean, with that definition of family?
That definition of family
Is
would
it just
change
specific to
for-
this?
For all issues of zoning involving family. So for a single-family residence, you would have simply a group of people that live in a common dwelling, not necessarily a group of people who are related. Not a single one of them would need to be related. So you could have however many people fit in that single-family residence, and whether they are family members, relatives in any fashion, is irrelevant. That takes care of, as I said, the issue that we're running afoul of for the sober treatment facility, or sober living facilities, where we're restricting the number of unrelated individuals who can live together. I like what I came up with first, but I can't tell you, in all honesty, that it is the only way to address it. It's just my preferred way to address it.
Yes.
Well, just one more, so what kind of negative issues might we run into by making the change? I mean, if it's not, I mean, if it's a way to do it, I mean, are there any negatives to doing that way?
And that's why I'm recommending taking more time with regards to Alderperson Timian's substitute motion, because I don't know what bad things could happen. It may be that only good things will happen. I don't know that either. I haven't done any kind of a study on this. I don't know of anyone else who has. I do know it takes care of the current legal issue. I can tell you that. Beyond that, I cannot make any prognostications about what's going to happen.
Mr. Timian.
I would strongly advise that none of us know what's going to happen, and tomorrow. So, like, having said that, a lot of cities have done away with the definition of family and zoning code altogether. This is a really nice compromise that maintains what is a household within a dwelling unit. So we can differentiate between a duplex and a single-family home and a multi-family unit. It is still separate individual units so that different codes apply. Having said that, the definition of family that is in our code is a holdover of many historically exclusionary zoning practices that I think this council has made an effort to chip away at, some of which are just the abundance of single-family housing that prohibit boarding houses or a group of teenagers all going to college, 18-year-olds, teenagers living together. There's a lot of different living situations whereby people can run afoul of the law. And zoning practices like this and these definitions are usually used to target people in neighborhoods that others don't want there. And so everyone's happy with the 4 young adults that live in a house until they have one loud party, and then they're kicked out because they call the cops and it turns out they're violating the law. I firmly believe that the definition of family that we have in our code is very antiquated, and it is used as a targeting practice. And all the proposals that we had to change this, I think were very well thought out, and they were a system to get around an obstacle that we could have just removed in the first place. And so that is why my proposal is a simple one of, let's just remove the obstacle instead of trying to find ways around it constantly. And you might not agree with it, so I'm happy to hear your thoughts about it as well.
Anything further? Yes, Mr. McNeil?
Oh, well, I'm remembering, so my wife and I lived in an apartment, stone's throw from here on 7th. I think there were 24 units, they were all 3-bedroom when we were young, and we had neighbors with 4 unrelated people in a 3-bedroom apartment. And so I think just remembering that that was for young people that it was affordable housing for my neighbors. And so I also think about people that are moving here, are newcomers, immigrants and refugees who might be welcoming other families into their home until they can find housing of their own. So, I mean, I see the value. I understand what Bill's saying. This is a lot to consider, but I like the idea of making this simple to create more attainable and affordable housing.
Mr. Schmidt?
When we look at the current definition of family, what is its practical, actual purpose in the current enforcement of the code?
Is it for Mr. Mathias?
For whoever can answer that question.
Yeah, and I think you can call it antiquated, or the history of it is like, we only want so many people that aren't part of this family living in this house because it's going to either cause nuisances or it's going to be too crowded or whatever the situation might be. So I think that's probably where it comes from. How often does that actually get enforced? You know, in the 18 years I've been doing zoning, have we ever actually like prosecuted some, or like whatever you would call that, like actually get them into court? Absolutely not. Have we responded to some neighbors' concerns about, hey, there's like 10 guys in this house next to me or something? Yeah, we have done that. But I don't think we've ever had to take it to court or anything like that. So I think that becomes the concern, is like how many people could be in that house, but we also know that we don't actively check with a family. That was one of the questions this attorney had for us on people with disabilities. Right? It was like, well, how often do you check how many people are living in a house? And it's like, we don't ask how many people are in your family. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think it's a historical thing. And we did some research, all the other Quad cities have some definition of it, I think.
Pretty much identical. I would add one thing to what Chris has said. The definition of family gives us a way of differentiating a single-family residence and a multifamily residence. This definition of family, I think, addresses that issue. I don't know if it addresses the more historical aspects that Chris identified, but that was in working with Alderperson Timian, that was something in specific that I wanted to make sure that we had a definition for family so that we could still differentiate a single family and a multifamily, which basically is going to mean a single family, they all live communally. A multifamily, they all have their individual, they have their own bathroom, their own bedroom, their own kitchen. They each live individually. Basically, we're talking about apartments, or even a single-family residence that has been divided up into functioning separate dwellings. And that aspect of it, I thought was important to come up with this language so that we do have a standard going forward.
Did you have something for Mr. Schmidt?
Yeah, and I appreciate both of those answers and kind of understanding when we look at what is there's not much in the way of a practical use besides discouraging certain items. That definition is certainly antiquated when it refers to our domestic servants. in the language. I run into, when we think about the challenge I have with being ready to jump at such a change like this, is that it is, I mean, we essentially say this word that we use and we define a million things throughout the code with now has no meaning whatsoever. I mean, we're zeroing it out, and I'm not saying that I don't think it should be zeroed out, but I am concerned that just by just swapping out that definition of family to be quite so permissive. I mean, it literally, we say that it allows everything as long as you're that owner. And I don't know if we have other mechanisms if it's, I mean, a nuisance could be 2 people at a house, a nuisance could be 5 people at a house. I don't personally, and there are other mechanisms in a nuisance situation to address. So I'm less concerned about that, but what if there is a health violation or stuffing 10 to 12 people into a place? And as you said, we wouldn't check if it was a family. So it's okay if you're married and have kids, but it's not okay if you're not. Like, would we have health and safety violations that would?
I don't know the health code real well and that sort of thing. But getting back to Bill's point too, it's like you think of that. So like, do we need a boarding house in the code anymore? Like, do we need that land use? So these are just the sort of things you think about as you're, study this.
Mr. Razak?
Thank you, Mayor. While defining family, I believe that we should not make it too rigid, too restrictive. But at the same time, to loosen it very widely, we do not want to make our city like a New York. In a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, 3-4 families are living. That is the situation which we do not want. And I do appreciate our attorney that we should not jump into anything very quickly and fast. Slow and steady win the race, I believe that. Thank you.
Anything further from the council? Mr. Macias?
Thank you. When you mentioned, so you put so many months into this, obviously this is a piece that, and I'm not gonna call it oversight, but it came up, obviously, there was an issue with a place. If we were to say, take a step back and give more time, how much time are we talking about?
If it were to be sent back to Plan Commission, I think you're talking about a delay of about a month to 2 months, probably closer to 2 months. If it were to be handled by the city council, then it would be done at your next couple of meetings with the possibility that if we didn't get it done on time, that we may need to hold it over rather than advancing it to second reading. But again, I can't tell you for sure how long it will take in front of the city council, but it probably would be at least slightly quicker in front of the city council than going back to Plan Commission.
And would that give, say we go about it Mr. Timian's way, we can make amendments. Do you think is it reasonable to say you could kind of figure it out within that time?
As long as you do not advance it to second reading before making the amendments, you're gonna be fine. But if you advance it to second reading and we discover late that there's something that needs to be changed, then you've got a problem with the Open Meetings Act. At that point, we may need to take it back to first reading and go through from first to second reading again.
Mr. Atkins, I'm not sure I
but-
understand what you're saying. Why
sorry?
would there be a problem with the Open Meetings Act? It's a process, and you can always send it back to a previous portion of the process.
Yeah, if we discovered that some section needed to be changed that we haven't referenced, that is potentially a problem with the Open Meetings Act as the Attorney General interprets it. I don't personally subscribe to that.
In what
but
way is what I'm asking?
I'm sorry?
In what way is what I'm asking you? Because all of these things, everything that comes before the council is amendable and can be moved back to a previous meeting or however they desire.
What the Attorney General has said is that if the item was not on the agenda for that way of being passed, whatever that is, if it gets changed after it has made it to city council, it is not still in some committee, then if it is not the same section, if it's not the same general subject matter that the public has been given notice of, then it is a violation. The city of Peoria ran into a problem with this when they actually voted to continue doing what they had always been doing, but that wasn't on the agenda. And so the Attorney General found that because they voted to continue doing what they had always been doing and not to make a change.
Yeah, so the point is you have to stick to what's in the agenda. That's
We
really
just
what
need
it's
to make sure that if we make any changes, that it's to the parts we've already addressed. If it were to other parts, we basically need to start back at the beginning
Correct.
with
Understood.
new notice.
Okay. Did you have anything further, Mr.
And with
Macias?
regard to Alderperson Timian's substitute motion, I made sure that all the same provisions that were already addressed in all the public notice for Plan Commission and everything else are the same ones that are in here and actually a little bit less.
Yeah, and that's normal procedure anytime there's any kind of amendment, it's just to a portion of what's presented.
Yeah, I think it can be done properly. It's just a question of making sure that we're addressing every procedural issue appropriately and not advancing it before we're sure that there's nothing more that needs to be done.
Okay.
It can advance to city council as an ordinance, and at first reading, there can be changes, and then potentially advance to second reading. But advancing it to second reading, there could end up being some issues if we have other things that need to be changed.
Thank you. Do you have something further?
Yeah, just one final thing. And what does this mean to the individuals, the house, the place that's being,
Right now, they've told me they're operating on our current definition of family. So, and they'll, once we deal with that, that's when they'll go to their full, 10 folks in that house.
so they're waiting on us?
Yes. Yeah, they're meeting the code.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So I'll just share one thought as you contemplate what you're going to vote on. I think this council has steadily worked in ways to reduce barriers to make changes, especially as it in regard to housing. We want to make it easier for people to be housed. And when you are talking about wage depression and all of the things that everyone is dealing with, trying to keep themselves housed and fed and educated and all these things, eliminating barriers seems to be aligned with where this council has been headed in terms of all of the housing reform that we've attempted or been successful in changing. So I just want to point out that as you decide what you're doing, I think we should be thoughtful about the alignment of how policy is reflective of your strategic plan, basically, and your values. So, anything further, Mr. Schmidt?
Ultimately, I agree with the move of removing that definition of family. I think probably the more appropriate action, or what I would like to see, it would be an approach of removing the use of family for a more properly and well-calibrated household definition, or how that piece would move through. That said, I don't believe we're in a place where waiting on that makes sense. Because I also think it's not, like many things, it's not like this is gonna turn into a proliferation of large places or issues that we would need to address. I mean, it's, I think, a fairly niche issue. Anyone who was gonna violate the current definition probably already is. So I think as we head into the longer term, there may be an opportunity to look back and say, okay, why are we defining what a family is to begin with, and what does that even make sense? But as a practical purpose, and to make it simpler, rather than throwing up extra barriers, I think just pulling out the barriers through this mechanism is where I would stand.
Anything further from the council? All right, hearing none. All in favor of this substitute?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nay. All right, that motion passes 7-1. Thank you. And point taken for the need for review, but there are 2 weeks until it comes again for first reading. So hopefully the kind of research and reassurance that you would like to be able to give the council can happen in those 2 weeks, and we'll take it one step at a time.
Yeah, that motion is on the table.
Oh, yes, thank you. That was just the substitution. All right, any further discussion on this motion as amended? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
All right, that motion passes 7-1 as well. Thank you very much. We move to 6.4, a resolution approving the City of Moline Public Art Commission's recommendation of Skunk Control as the choice artist and said artist's proposed design for a public art installation at project area number 1, the Q Multimodal Station, cited in the Moline Public Art and Placemaking Plan, and authorizing the mayor to execute a leading light public art project agreement between the City of Moline, the Rock Island County Metropolitan Mass Transit District, the Quad City Arts, and Skunk Control for the design and installation of a large-scale interactive and illuminated public art installation at project area number 1 pursuant to the intergovernmental agreement adopted by resolution number 1145-2024 and authorizing city staff to do all things necessary to implement the proposed public art installation at said project area number 1. Mr. Mathias.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the leading light project. You saw an IGA for this back in 2024, which is attached. That kind of explains how this project would work. But this is a $330,000 public art project. As you know, when we talked about the IGA, half of that will be coming from MetroLink through their funding. And so we're happy to have them as a partner with this. Jennifer Hirsch is here and was part of our selection committee as we reviewed these 3 proposals. So you can see that we had 3 finalists, 1 artist, Gordon Huther, withdrew prior to submitting the final design, and then the 2 remaining artists, you can see both of their concepts attached to this. Of course, we are recommending Skunk Control, which we thought by far was the more creative and just all around better artistic design and project. So we really liked the brightness of it, how interactive it is, and think it's going to be a great project for that space. You know, we are trying to create place in Moline, and so I do want to point out that, like I said, this is not just coming out of the city's budget, right? This is a partner project with MetroLink. So I think that's important for the negative comments that we might see on Facebook or other things about this. But we've identified that placemaking is something that we want to do, and so we have to budget some of our funds towards that. And I would point out that we're putting a lot more of our funds towards roads and infrastructure than we are towards
This is true.
Anyway, asking for your approval, and just so you know, we have looked at utilities that are in the area. We've talked to IDOT about any of their standards, which were mostly about brightness and distracting the traffic. We have heard from the railroad about any concerns they would have. And like I said, we have plans with various utilities. The only thing that I think we need to do from here is kind of just have very set locations for where these will go on site, so we don't have any utility conflicts. So I do want to just have Mr. Allen with Quad City Arts come up and just talk about these artists real quick, just the art component, just real quick. So thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mathias, and good evening, Mayor and council members. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Tapestry, which I've seen that you were able to look at in advance, and just let you know that we really think that this is going to be just a project that's going to bring a lot of community identity. So Skunk Control is a creative group that's founded by Nick Athanasiou, and they are Australian-based. And so one thing that was really neat going through this project was getting to see that the people that applied for this came from all over the world. And of the top 10 public artists going on right now, public artists out there in the entire world, 3 of the top 10 applied for this. So we were getting some really top-tier talent. And so Skunk Control has something really great in store for us, which I hope you're able to look at already. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about just how visually striking it's going to be, that it's an immersive experience. And one thing that Skunk Control is after is the idea of wonder and also discovery, so that as people are going about and through the space and looking at the artwork, they're always able to discover something new. So for instance, this has a lot of flowers in it, these large-scale flowers. Each flower petal is a different arrangement of folding and unfolding. The materials that are made out of it it's an optic filter, and so the color is going through that optic filter, and that's how the actual color is going to be cast as a shadow, both on the floor and on the walls. And that's something that's really unique, and Skunk Control has looked to our local ecology, which is really important to them, to take into account the flora and fauna of our area. And so they're looking at butterfly wings and thinking about how that is the same type of process that a butterfly wing has color come through it. So it brings together art, science, and ecology to create a living, ever-changing experience for the city. It activates both the sidewalk and the tower facade. The work comes alive day and night with large-scale flowers and butterflies whose colors continually shift as sunlight and viewing angles change. As I said, these vivid colors are not painted, they're created through advanced optic filters and mimic how color is formed in nature. As people move through the plaza, the artwork responds by casting animated color shadows that transform both the space and the facade. Tapestry is designed to inspire curiosity, delight, and a deeper connection to local ecology, creating a landmark for Moline that evolves with its environment and its community.
Thank
That's
you
it for
very
me.
much.
Thanks.
Any questions? Oh, wait, do we have this on the,
We need a motion to.
yeah, we need a motion.
Motion to
before we
approve.
can-
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion, Mr. Schmidt.
Yes, Your Honor. I just need to make notification that MetroLink is a client of my agency. It's not a competitive or beneficial situation here, but I want to notify. Thank you.
Anything from the council? Mr. Macias.
Was Skunk Control one of those top 3 artists? Awesome. And I just wanted to say Skunk Control. But yeah, loved the concept, loved it, everything. Really looking forward to seeing it in real life. So thank you for all the work. Yeah.
There was another hand, Mr. McNeil.
No, I'm just glad that you pointed out, Chris, on the project cost, it is significant, but how fortunate we are to have a partner like MetroLink, because how much we're able to get for our investment, a significant project at scale. And I'm sure Mr. Allen would share with us as well, the economic impact when we're looking to develop our downtown of this will help attract businesses, visitors. It's significant, and I'm super excited.
I think also it's good to note, because we approved the public art program years ago now, in 2021, right? And then the committee has actually built up funds for it, correct? Like, this wasn't like, we're doing this size project every year.
Right.
We knew that this was gonna be the big project, and so I think for the public's sake, they should know that they've been responsible with planning for this over the long run.
Correct.
Mr. Timian.
I want to thank the Public Arts Commission for that reason. It's always a easy thing to cut on the budget. And so they're forward thinking and squirreling away of the funds for these big projects, I think is really community centered and forward thinking. I just love also that it's right by the train station. So when the train comes, that's the first thing people are going to see when they leave. And I think it's a great way to be welcomed into the city.
Thank you.
I just want to thank the Public Art Commission for all their work and just tell you they're a real creative group. And what I do like about their meetings is just they really get intense on some things, and it's fun to hear them go back and forth. They teach me a lot about art, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, if there's nothing further, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 6.5, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an independent consultant agreement for professional services for Crawford, Murphy, and Tilly, Inc. For 2026 intersection improvements for an amount not to exceed $392,120. Ms. Clower.
The agreement before you is between the city and CMT Consultants to design 2 future intersection reconfiguration/reconstruction projects. The first is located at Avenue of the Cities and 53rd Street, which is currently budgeted for construction in 2027. The second is located at 19th Avenue and 16th Street, which is currently budgeted for construction in 2028. As part of this agreement, CMT will analyze the intersection of 19th Avenue and 16th Street for a possible roundabout. I don't know if it's possible yet. They need to do their work to see, but that will be presented to council once they determine if it's possible or not. If it's not, they will be putting back traffic signals.
Isn't that the intersection that we already got a state grant for?
Nope, that's
16, I thought it was
further
16.
north. That's at
Oh,
16th
sorry,
Avenue
yeah, got you.
and 15th Street,
Thank you.
close.
Thank you. Okay.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Macias. Discussion. I guess I should have asked that question during discussion. Yes, Mr. Timmy?
I love the idea of a roundabout here because it's another one of those 5-point roads that are just really difficult to navigate. And so I'm glad that that was proactively considered, and I just wanted to thank you all for that.
Mr. Macias?
And I mean, it'll tie in nicely to
Mhm.
the one down the hill, so, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love the idea.
Thank you. Anything further? There's nothing, all in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. 6.6, a resolution approving and accepting proposed changes to prior contract language as agreed to and by and between the negotiators for the city of Moline and the United Automobile, Aerospace, and Agricultural Implement Workers of America, UAW, Local 2282, relating to wages, hours of work, and certain other conditions of employment effective for the contract period of January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2028, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a labor agreement incorporating said changes with the United Automobile, Aerospace, and Agricultural Implement Workers of America, Local 2282, relating to wages, hours of work, and certain other conditions of employment effective for the contract period of January 1, 2026 through December 31st, 2028.
I'll be taking
Mr.
this.
Vitas?
Yes, well, thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council. What you have before you is a recommendation to approve the contract between the city and the UAW that represent our employees at the library. After 3 short sessions, they were able to successfully conclude their negotiations for a new agreement. And some of the highlights out of that is this is the last group moving into the compensation plan that was done by Evergreen, which is our class and comp study. So now all the employees of the city are fully integrated into that plan with the approval and adoption of this agreement. You can see from the email you should have received from Margaret Kostopoulos, who works very closely with our HR director, Leah Matson. She also recommends a couple other things going on here. Wage increases. The first year varies because migrating people in and out, very similar to what happened before. Some people saw increases of 8%, some people saw 12%, and are at the max. Some people saw 1%. It was a question of just migration, which they've agreed to. Going forward in year 2 of the contract, a 3% increase across the board, and then year 3, a 2.75% increase. So pretty much keeping in line with our other bargaining units historically and what we've been able to negotiate. Paid parental leave, something that we started here and has kind of taken off in other cities around us. That was also included in here. That was agreed to by the union. Health insurance, surprisingly, they have agreed, and I think it's important to note that they have accepted an 80-20 split on the health insurance, and Medicare eligible retirees pay 100% of the premium. It's a big change. It's a big, it's more than a big change, it's a game changer for what we have in our other contracts. So kudos to both sides of the bargaining table for agreeing to that. There's a lot of language cleanup in here regarding recruitment and hiring and promotional processes, and to clear up the confusion and making it more relative to the language that's in our AFSCME contract, which is one of our largest bargaining units. So that's been done. Same thing with the grievance process, that's been cleaned up. Not that we see any grievances coming from the library. We've never had one in 4.5 years. It's a happy-go-lucky group over there, and everybody's happy, so that's what counts. They are going to close the library a little bit earlier on Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve because we don't get patrons after 5 p.m. So no reason keeping the staff there in an empty building. So we're recommending approval as it was presented to you. If there's any questions, Leah's here as well. But I want to just compliment both sides of the bargaining table for moving rapidly to start and conclusion of a successor agreement. So highly recommend approval.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second. Motion by Finch, seconded by Schmidt. All right. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. We move to our informational, 7.1, January 2026 Status and Information Report. Mr. Vitas.
Thank you again, Mayor and members of council. I just wanted to kind of go over a few things in this month's report, because as you know, this is the report that kind of ties out the end of the year for December. And there'll be changes to this report going forward, but I won't get into those tonight. Hopefully we'll be producing something that you'll enjoy and be more meaningful to you. And more cost efficient with staff time. A couple things I think are important to really draw on. One, the holidays just ended, right? The holidays came, they ended, going back to Thanksgiving and ending, with the new year. The city stepped up again this year, going back to even the pandemic times, but we continue to provide the holiday meal gift card program to those in need in this community. $25,000 in gift cards were provided for Hy-Vee back in November, and another $35,000 in December for gift cards to Fairway. Those were both matched by both stores 10%. So we fell short in November, so we increased the number to 35 in December. And believe me, everybody got a card. I was there all day. It was really an amazing process. And we could do a little more streamlining, but we did get them in, we got them out, and it was probably one of the worst weather days we've had this year. I will say that. And Chris did a great job mopping the floor in the new gym so that people didn't slip and fall. But it was really an incredible giving from this community. Tri-City Housing Lottery, KJ, I know you're listening in. She's not in the room yet, but I'm going to have her speak to that. But, that $1.2 million program is kicking off in January very, very shortly. I want her to come in and talk about that under miscellaneous. Again, that's a fantastic program to help our property owners who have great needs that go unmet. I do want to point out, I couldn't be there, but I had worked on this with Mr. Frank Eggy, as well as with Macy, as well as with Ashley. And there was a ribbon cutting for the signage that went up down there, historical signage down in the riverfront. If you haven't seen it, please stop when you take a walk, take a look at it. Just a really great way of complimenting who Moline is. I mean, we are the Quad Cities. I mean, it started here. I mean, it took off here, and this area grew because of the growth that happened along that riverfront right in downtown Moline. So really great signage representing our history, proud history. The Thanksgiving Throwdown Food Drive done by Human Resources. Our HR department does some great things. They worked toward getting all of the competition going on inside our organization to, do a food drive. We had 2,635 food items equaling 5,212 meals that were contributed by the city employees. Again, helping those in need at the neediest time of the year. And just want to make sure that that gets out there. And then last, I'll just wrap up with two great grants in our Park and Recreation Department. $10,000 from the USA Soccer Association, and then $50,000 from Team Mobile from their hometown grant, highly competitive grant, and we got $50,000. That $60,000 is going to address the need for the soccer pitch that was cut from the budget because of costs at the time of bidding. Over at Riverside Park is the final piece of that legacy project that we started long ago. So that now is being funded by 60% by outside dollars. So kudos to the Park Department for chasing down those dollars and making that project a reality so that everybody can participate in what has proven to be very successful Wisco soccer pitches, here in the city. So with that, that's all I have.
Thank you. Any comments from council on the status and information report? I did want to thank Chief Galt for including the detailed data on our sheltering efforts and the police department interaction with folks that are in need of shelter. That was really helpful. If you did not read that in detail, please do, as we continue to work on solutions within the city and with our partners. I think it's really helpful information to put the need in perspective. So I wanted to mention that. Mr. Timian?
I know I sent Bob an email about this. Laura's here. Is there an update on the parking study? that we had an RFP for.
We have selected a consultant and we are going back and forth with contract language.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, anything further from the council? All right, we'll call our regular council meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do you have an invocation, Alderperson Murphy? No, I don't. Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Present.
Macias.
Present.
Razak.
Present.
Timian.
Present.
Finch. Present. McNeil.
Present.
Castro. Schmidt.
Present.
Okay, we don't have any remote electronic attendance. Is there any further public comment? Hearing none, we'll move to our consent agenda.
Your Honor, I request the approval of Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of December 9, 2025, Committee of the Whole Council and Executive Session meeting minutes of December 16, 2025, Committee of the Whole Special meeting minutes of December 18, 2025, and consent agenda items 15.1 through 16.5 inclusively. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch. Aye. McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Non-consent agenda resolutions. Item number 18.1, a resolution accepting proposed changes to prior contract language as agreed to by and between the negotiators for the City of Moline and the United Automobile Aerospace and Agricultural Implement Workers of America, Local 2282, relating to wages, hours of work, and certain other conditions of employment effective for the contract period of January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2028, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a labor agreement incorporating said changes with the United Automobile Aerospace and Agricultural Implement Workers of America, Local 2282, relating to wages, hours of work, and certain other conditions of employment effective for the contract period of January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2028.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
Castro. Schmidt.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Non-consent agenda, first reading ordinances. Item number 19.1, an ordinance amending Chapter 4 Alcoholic Liquor of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 4-3104, number of licenses, by increasing the number of Class B tavern licenses in the city at the request of Jeffrey Close, J.D. Close Entertainment LLC, purchaser of the Broken Saddle Saloon, 1457 Fifth Avenue, Moline.
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Macias. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 19.2, an ordinance amending Chapter 22, Offenses Miscellaneous of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 22-1105, Tobacco Products, Tobacco Accessories, Smoking Herbs, and Alternative Nicotine Products by increasing the number of Class B incidental tobacco dealers licenses in the city of Moline at the request of J.D. Close Entertainment LLC, DBA The Broken Saddle Saloon.
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Macias. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 19.3, an ordinance amending Chapter 22, Offenses Miscellaneous of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 221105, Tobacco Products, Tobacco Accessories, Smoking Herbs, and Alternative Nicotine Products by increasing the number of Class B incidental tobacco dealers licenses in the city of Moline at the request of Central Store LLC, DBA Central Store.
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
Castro. Schmidt.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 19.4, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a Fifth Amendment to Development Agreement for the Quad Cities Multimodal station between the City of Moline and Moline Promenade Investors LLC, and to execute any necessary agreements referenced therein, and authorizing all appropriate city officers and staff to do all things necessary to complete each of the city's responsibilities pursuant to said agreement.
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second.
Motion. Yep. I just had another moment.
Oh, okay.
All right, that was motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries, and that's all I have this evening, Your Honor.
All right. We start miscellaneous business with just a couple dates for you. I think you may have heard through the listening post I had or any other commentary regarding our social services and efforts that I've wanted to talk to faith leaders in the community so we get a better idea of who's doing what, when, what are their interests, how could they help the city, et cetera. And so Ashley Allen Smith has helped me settle on Thursday, January 15th from 9 to 11 a.m. at Trinity Lutheran Church in Moline. We have a wide swath of folks that are going to be invited from Moline to help us get an assessment of that. And I want to make sure, I've shared this with Ashley, like it doesn't have to just be their pastors. Many churches or organizations have someone who's in charge of social ministry, if you will, right? That coordinates volunteers, that kind of thing. So I'll be working through that on the 15th. Also, the state of the city, we have confirmation. It will be Monday, February 2nd at the Moline Club, which is newly opened as of last year. We did a ribbon cutting up on the top floor, right?
Yes.
Yep.
The ballroom.
Yep, and we'll follow our pattern of morning coffee community speakers who've been involved in something important over the last year or so, and then followed by my speech. So that's February 2nd. I also wanted to just ask Bob to review a little bit, and KJ's here now as well.
Yeah.
But we've continued conversations via email, via phone, after the community listening post with partners, et cetera. I've had conversations with other city leaders at our different city leader meetings. Been about 3 of those since mid-December to now. So I thought you could give them an update on where we're at with the $25K that you authorized for sheltering help.
Nobody's planned any trips, no educational training involved. All the money's going to be used locally, right? All kidding aside, thanks to KJ and her efforts and other staff members working with her, we've secured, I think it's 25 cots, or do we up to 50 now?
First order was for 25.
25, yeah, so we got 25 cots on order, and these are the kind of cots that are durable, and yet they're portable, so they can be quickly assembled, they can quickly disassembled, and they can be properly then stored. So those have been ordered. Sleeping bags have also been ordered. These are those 0-degree sleeping bags. They're known as mummy bags. These are life-saving bags, right? Because they basically secure your body entirely, and it contains its heat. So, you know how many we have? I have a number here I don't believe is correct.
I have the first 3 downstairs right now.
Okay, the first 3, so we can look at those. So we're in the process of getting those, zeroing in on that. There are collapsible wagons that have been ordered as well, so that they have the ability to transport their goods. Those are on order, as well as hygiene kits. So these are personal hygiene kits that they can use to actually take care of themselves while they're there. We've been busy working with Project Now in discussions, not only with respect to the Allendale property, which presents a host of challenges because of the flammability of the structure. It was built as a single-family residence. So there are some issues with that building. As far as the City Service Center gym, staff will be moving in there on the 19th from the Community Economic Development Department, as I pointed out. I believe I sent you an email on this, but I'm going to repeat it. And then at the end of the month, on the 26th, Park and Recreation will go in. So that will conclude pretty much the relocation of that staff. over the next month or two, I'll be working with both the finance department as well as HR and dealing with the relocation of finance to this building at some point, certain during the, hopefully during the first quarter of this calendar year or fiscal year.
But that won't impact the availability of the potential
It's going to the gym.
emergency sheltering in the gymnasium.
Correct. The emergency sheltering in the gym would be something that Project Now would manage the functionality of. We are not trained or staffed to manage a shelter. Whether it's temporary, interim, long-term, we just do not have that type of staff capacity or expertise. So we would partner with Project Now. They're well aware of that. I've made them aware that the gym has a capacity of up to 55 cots. So it pretty much covers, what happened during that inclement weather and they opened up the Martin Luther King Center. So we have adequate space, and that does meet with both FEMA standards and guidelines as well as International Red Cross standards and guidelines. So Mitch Cunningham, our fire marshal, has done a great job of being on board, available, and working with us to make sure that building works. It's a great location for that purpose on a temporary basis. Why? The building's not combustible. Doesn't need to be sprinklered, but it has a brand-new fire alarm system in it. So we're actually in pretty good shape over there for temporary sheltering during this inclement January, February, and March. I would think by end of March, we'd probably be okay, but if we get bad weather, that's what we're doing. We're also looking at writing a policy on how this would operate, how we would actually do this, because we just can't say we're gonna open it, right? We have a partnership with, arrangement with Project Now. They've been pretty much stand up, working with us, both Mr. Lund and Reverend Ford, as well as Mary McNeil. So we've had a good working relationship established, and we are working through all of those details. So I would expect that we will get back with that. Other than that, we continue to explore longer-term solutions. The mayor pointed it out. She's been, at it, the best way to describe it, pushing buttons, getting people interested, talking. The county is having great conversations with us now. Chairman Brunk has been more than available to have discussions, and we're looking forward to scheduling some future get-together with, I think this month, with all of the local cities in Illinois and try and address the unsheltered issue here on our side of the river, as opposed to dealing with the Iowa side. Can't deal with both, so we're going to deal with what we can. And so it's been very, very, it's been very good. I don't think there's anything bad that's happened yet.
Thank you.
Yet.
Anyway, the point is working relationships are working.
Yes.
Ms. Murphy?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Macias?
No, thank you very much.
Timian?
Nothing.
Wow. Schmidt. All right. Now you may conclude any other further miscellaneous you have. I think you wanted KJ to speak.
Well, I do. Happy New Year, everybody. We don't always get to say that to each other. It's the first meeting of the year. 2025 was a great year. I mean, a lot of great things happened, a lot of heavy lifting leading into this year. I expect to see bulldozers. I expect to see construction. We've waited a long time and we've worked really, really hard at trying to lift the city up and see things happen. And thanks to the council, thanks to the staff, thanks to our private community that is willing to do business with Moline, we're going to start to see those housing starts. I think really, really crucial for the future of the city. We're going to see a lot of work coming out of engineering under new guidance from Laura Clower, our new city engineer. Congratulations again. Good to have you on board. And with that, please wish Mr. Dreyer all the best after working in local government since 1987. He is leaving us next week, Tuesday, on January 13th, and we'll be relocating in March of this year to a new home here in Illinois, believe it or not. Wisconsin guys staying in Illinois. They don't tax pensions in Illinois. Here you go. So there's one thing we do well. We don't tax pensions, thank God. So anyhow, looking forward to a really bright year coming up with a lot of great results that we've been planning on for years. So with that, let's ask KJ to kind of lighten up a little bit on this Tri-Cities housing lottery.
Well, before I go to that, Bob, just to piggyback off of your discussion there, Mayor, on your desk is the environmental for the release of funds for the Parkview project with
the
Moline
MHA
Housing
project.
Authority. So we'll get that up to HUD, we'll go through its wait period, and then hopefully we're gonna be breaking ground on that soon, in March, so that's very good news. And just to follow up on some of the homeless things, I haven't told Bob all that I spent. So
No, she never does. I have to pin her down. She's not easy to pin.
we did also get like scarves and gloves and socks and hand warmers and toe warmers, hygiene products. We're gonna get a few tents. Like I said, we have sleeping bags, like Bob said, I should say. And then the wagon to kind of transport. We have blankets and we also have emergency blankets.
Pillows.
So we went very, very broad on what we purchased. And if there's a need for someone out there, we have it here. We're working with Public Works. We're gonna store the stuff down there in a weather-tight area. So when it's needed, it's gonna be in totes and we can get to it. The cots that we picked out, they fold up and they're very, very skinny. You can just slide them in like this. And like we said, the first order was 25, but we are gonna order another 25 on that. So we are moving along on that, and then we are working on the policy. Hopefully we'll have that for your next meeting, maybe?
I hope so.
Okay, that's the target.
Great if we could.
Please make sure you work very closely on the policy on the tents, because that takes a lot of forethought. Where can they be? Who can have them? We know there are people who will refuse to be sheltered, right?
Okay.
And I imagine that's why you bought them?
Yes, just a few, just a handful.
Yeah, and certainly, again, we would lean on partners who would help make those decisions, obviously. But I just think that policy is really important, that y'all are on the same page.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the lottery. It's been out there circulating for about 10, 12 days now. A lot of media attention to it. Matter of fact, we're gonna be doing some 5 a.m. interviews on it. Bob chose the latter spot.
They tried to stick me with the
yeah.
5 a.m. one, and I said, it's
Yeah.
not happening. They never look good at that hour.
So all the city administrators have picked a slot for that day. I'll kick it off at 5 a.m. and then they'll follow at 5:30, 6 and 6:30 for interviews on that. But this is an opportunity for anyone in East Moline, Moline, or Silvis to put their name in. The funding that we have here came from IDA. It's a combination of 2 grants, a 1 or HRAP 2 grant and the 1 or half HR grant. So we have 2 grants and we have 2 different income levels. So with the first one, it's your traditional 80% AMI, which your family of 4 can make about $78,000. On the other one, a family of 4 can make about $150,000 because it goes up to 150 AMI. But both of these grants are going to address critical repairs and health and safety in homes. So why did we decide to do a lottery? I had so many requests when people found out that we received this money. We thought, what's the best way for us to deploy the money? We said, let's be transparent. Let's just have a lottery. It's the luck of the draw. Really, that's what it comes down to. They were like, well, how can we make it convenient for the consumer out there? We said, you can sign up online for this lottery. We're gonna open it up from a period of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Before, when we did this, and Ashley probably remembers when we had the previous entry, it filled up in like 19 seconds.
Yeah.
We got 20 names, yeah, and it just went too quickly. So our citizens board, CACUP, said, hey, sorry about that. Our citizens board said, hey, let's kind of take a look at this. Let's open it up for a period of time. They can sign up electronically. So on your break, on your way to work, and all we're asking is for your name, your address, your email, your telephone number, and whether you have any accessibility improvements that you want us to address. And then you click the button, you're gonna get a lottery number. That's gonna happen on Monday. So it opens at 9, it closes at 5 on Monday. If you don't put your name in on Monday, there's no chance for your name to be drawn next Thursday. So then Thursday, across the room at the CACUP meeting, we're gonna start off where we're going to draw 25 numbers at random. So basically, it's the luck of the draw. We can have 25 people that live in Silvis, we can have 25 people that live in East Moline, or we can have 25 people that live in Moline, or a mixture. We're hoping for the mixture, but we're not, trying to, I guess, design the lottery where it's just all Moline. We just felt this way was very transparent, and everything is public. So then we took our Moline Neighbors United meeting, which is this Thursday. We've been pushing that out, come to this meeting, and that's just gonna be our topic. We're gonna talk about the lottery, how it works. People have had a lot of questions out there. We've sent them the literature, but come to the meeting, ask your questions, because I'm sure other people have those questions. So we have the public meeting going on this week. The lottery entry is Monday, and the lottery drawing is Thursday. So after the mayor's meeting from 9 to 11, we will be drawing the names over here at 4 o'clock. So next Thursday can be very busy for all of you guys. So come on down. And so individuals can receive anywhere from $3,000 to $60,000. I know it's such a range, but this is a rehab program. It's not a cosmetic program. And that's one thing that we're trying to stress. I mean, if you want something done to your house that's cosmetic, this is not the program for that. And this is only for single-family homes. So we're going to be looking at roofs. We're going to be looking at gutters. We're going to be looking at siding and windows. And then your MEPs, your mechanical, your electrical, and your plumbing. So those are the type of things. And then accessibility improvements. So we're looking at ramps. And hopefully they're going to be portable ramps. So you might need it for the next year or two, but then you don't need it after that. So it can be easily removed. You might need grab bars in your bathroom. You might be in a situation where you need a roll-in bathroom. Those are the kind of things that we're going to look at. And again, the money is a forgivable loan. So either you're going to have a 3 or a 5-year recapture on the property from the date that construction ends and permits and inspections are approved. So it's a great opportunity. I provided you guys the information in case anyone in your wards give you a call. But if you guys have any questions of us, please give us a call.
Thank you, KJ.
Yes.
Can I ask a question? If there's someone who can't, if they don't have access to a computer or not able to, will there be someone that can assist them to do that?
Thank you, Alderman Castro. I forgot that point. So that was one other thing that we wrote in our PSP, which is our Participation Selection Plan for IDA. For people who don't have access to the internet or are not comfortable with doing it, they can come down here to Moline City Hall from 9 to 5, and we will enter their information for them. What we're not going to do is accept phoned-in requests to be added to the list for a lot of reasons. We can answer your questions, but we're not going to enter your name. So either you can do it yourself or have someone else do it for you, or you can come down between 9 and 5 and we'll do it here. So thank you for that.
Ms. Murphy?
Does the actual homeowner have to come? Like my mom is 95 years old and she lives alone, so she's not gonna use the internet. I mean, not that she's gonna be in it, but I'm just saying, I'm using this as an example. There are seniors that are not able to come in person, maybe because of disability or whatever. So how are you gonna handle those?
And that's a very good question. Someone can come down and enter their name or give us that information so we can enter that name.
Okay.
But your mom or that person would have to have an email address, because that's how you're getting the information back.
But a lot of seniors don't.
We can help them even create one at gmail.com.
I know, I'm just saying, but
Yeah.
a lot of seniors
Yeah.
don't. I've run into that all the time, that seniors don't have
Yeah,
emails.
unfortunately, things have moved to electronic ways of doing business. And so we try to make as many accommodations as possible. But in order for the program to perform, we're moving away from the paper and more to the electronic forms of paper. That makes sense.
Mr. Timian?
And if this was addressed, I apologize. I know a number of seniors in my ward that rent houses. Are those eligible or not because they're not the homeowner?
Right now, we are not doing rental properties in the drawing. Mhm. So we're looking at single-family homes. We're looking at mobile homes that are on a permanent foundation. We're looking at condominiums, things like that for this drawing.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Any other staff updates? Hearing none. Last chance for public comment. Hearing none, there's no executive session. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Castro and Finch. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, everyone.